Bank A offers 4.8% compounded quarterly. Bank B, 4.6% compounded monthly. So what this means is Bank A pays you 4 times a year. Bank B pays you 12 times a year. So you have more opportunity to make interest on interest. But percentage wise, Bank A is higher. So this is going to really show the difference between is what's more powerful here. Is the compounding period more powerful or the interest rate more powerful?
Yeah, and that's only a 0.2 difference.
And it's not a long time, but we could look at this for a longer period of time and see really what a difference it
Like 10 years.
Yeah. So well, I'm going to do it on my calculator for you guys for 25 years and see what it looks like. But here's the initial amount. The first one is 4.8%, so we change that to a decimal. Time is 3 years. Compounded quarterly means that your N is 4. You plug things in there, and for Bank A, you get $5,769.47, which is how much money for free for doing no work? How much money did you get for free for doing no work if you invested in this bank for 3 years? $769.47. That's, I like that for free. Right? Bank 2, everything's the same except the interest rate. Right? $5,738.36. So it's already $30 less. Bank A is better by $30. And I said I'm going to check this for 25 years, so I quickly type it into my calculator
That'd be a lot better.
for you guys. So 0.2% doesn't seem like a lot, right?
What is that? What's that thing?
This is great. Okay. They're wondering if I can go, they need a client for a beer.
For a beer?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, I need to go in my water. Yeah.
It would almost be $1,000 difference. And if you took it longer to 25 years. So the interest rate is something that is the most important when you're considering your investment or you are considering getting money from someone. If you're gonna buy a car, you want to get that interest rate as low as possible. And you get that interest rate as low as possible by having a good job, showing that you pay off things on time, and being smart with your money. If you don't show those things, when you go to buy your car, they're going to give you a higher interest rate. All right, we're gonna skip the next question, actually the next two, and go to something called the Rule of 72.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that
Okay. We'll wait a second, make sure everybody's done. What do you need to know about compound interest? You need to know what the formula is. You need to be able to figure out each of the things that are going into the formula, how to write them in the formula, and then it's just, can you type all of that into your calculator? So one of the things you can do for practice is look at a question like this one that we did and type that into your calculator at home to see, do you get the same answer? Because the calculator is only helpful if you know how to type things into it. If you can't type it into your own calculator, that's a prompt. Listo? Todavía?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, so turn to page 20. And in math, there's a really easy rule. It's sometimes called the rule of 72. It's sometimes called the rule of 70. You can use either 72 or 70. And it gives you a rough idea of how long it's going to take your money to double if it's invested with compound interest. And the formula is super easy. You just take 72 and divide it by your interest rate. And this is true for any amount of money and any percentage rate. That's reasonable. Okay? So for example, what are some nice numbers that you can divide 72 by? You can divide 72 by 4, 2, 8, 9, not 16. 7 you can divide 70 by. Really nice. So this means that if you were able to say someone's going to give you 8% interest, okay, what is 72 divided by 8? Equal to? Times table, that's 9. That means it will take it would take 9 years to double. You have $1,000 right now. 9 years later, you have $2,000. 9 years later, you have $4,000. 9 years later, you have $8,000. 9 years later, you have $16,000. It takes 9 years to double. Which is kind of crazy because it doesn't matter the amount. Right? Brandon wins the lottery, he's got $2 million. He puts it in there. 9 years later, he has $4 million. Abel doesn't win the lottery. He has $1. 9 years later, he would have $2. It would double whether it's $1 to $2. Would you be very excited in 9 years? No?
Yeah.
Definitely. But if you won the lottery and you do the same thing and that doubles, that means you make an extra $2 million in that 9 years. And if you decide not to take it out and say I'm going to leave it for another 9 years, it doubles again. You would have $4. He would have $4 million. Yeah.
My grandpapa wanted that because he did actually win a lottery.
Oh, that's exciting. I have not won the lottery yet, but I don't play because I know the math. And it's just like losing money for the most part. But some people can win sometimes. So it is possible. James runs his own business. And he has to save for his own retirement. He invests $3,000 into an RRSP at 3.6 compounded annually. If we use the rule of 72, how long does it take to double? We do 72 divided by 3.6. It will take 20 years to double, which is kind of a long time. But you guys are young. You have lots of time for things to develop.
But James can do it.
James could be dead. Depends how old James is. See how accurate it is. The actual answer, if you would use math and guess and check, is 19.6 years. 20 years is a pretty good estimate. So I could ask you on your test, use the rule of 72 to estimate how long it would take for $3,000 at 6% interest to double. And then you would just do 72 divided by 6, it's 12 years. You know what's the one problem with all of these things? You need to have money in order for it to invest and be able to double. And that's hard because what does life cost you? Money. It's like, I could invest this money or I could eat. I'm hungry. You'll probably have to eat. I could invest this money or I could pay rent. I think it's probably a good idea to be in a house. And so life, all the way through our lives, we have a whole bunch of things we have to pay for, which makes it hard to actually get to the point where you can invest money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.